In the Zorro dice game, 2 to 6 players will fight scoundrels and villains and perform heroic feats in order to become the next Zorro. Pull the Pin Games provided this copy in exchange for an honest review. Shuffle the common equipment and put 4 out in the center. Shuffle the heroic feats and place one on top of each equipment. Make sure you don't cover the reward. Above these, put the heroic dice on top of the matching scoundrel and villain. Shuffle the premium equipment and put it and the other 2 decks off to the side, but still within reach. Give each player a pawn and give one player the 6 black dice. On your turn, put a pawn on a heroic feat. In games with 4 or more players, you may invite 2 other players to join you. In the expansion, you'll be able to invite up to 2 regardless of player count. Anyhow, roll the 6 black Zorro dice. You're trying to perform that particular feat by matching the symbols in order to collect the covered equipment. I'll talk about equipment soon. Like in Yahtzee, you get 3 rolls. Keep what you want and roll the rest. If you accomplish the feat, take the card and the equipment. If you wish, you can discard the equipment to draw one blindly from the common equipment deck. If another player joined you, they get 1 roll at the end as well. Once you've collected 2 heroic feats of the same color, you collect the matching hero die and are challenged by the scoundrel. Scoundrels work the same way as feats, but require more symbols and have an ability that affects you. If you lose to the scoundrel, there's no effect. If you win, draw a premium equipment card. Whether you win or lose, each player gets a chance to battle the scoundrel in turn order. In the expansion, scoundrels and villains will be face down to hide their identities. Once both hero dice of a color have been collected, or the final heroic feat card has been drawn, that matching villain challenges you. Battles are similar to the ones with the scoundrel, but villains are more challenging and you don't draw a reward for winning. If you lost to the villain, tip your pawn over. You're clearly not ready to be the next Zorro. If you win, put your pawn in the middle of the table. If nobody else was successful, you won the game. If 1 or more players also beat the villain, go to a final duel. The black Zorro dice have 6 symbols: red charm, green dash, yellow grab, blue leap, white taunt, and white thrust. The colored hero dice have 4 of their matching symbols, 1 taunt and 1 thrust. To defeat enemies, you're going to want to get some hero dice. In the final duel, the player with the most thrust is the winner. Common equipment usually gives you a free symbol to use in your dice rolls, although some allow you to re-roll a specific symbol. Premium equipment is very powerful. Because of that, you are allowed 3 commons, but only 1 premium. If you ever draw an additional card of either type, choose one to keep, discard the other. That's pretty much the game. Roll dice, accomplish feats, and defeat enemies. That's the Zorro dice game. Our games of the Zorro dice game average just under 30 minutes. This can easily be played on weeknights, although your first game, or plays with the full count, could be close to 40 minutes. Because you can't have more than 4 cards, plus the heroic feats, player areas don't grow out of control. Each player doesn't need more space than a placemat. The number of people that can sit at your table can play this. There's a bit of grade 1 or 2 reading on the cards, and the only math is counting the number of rolled symbols. I'd say if the player can handle Yahtzee, they can handle this. 7-year-olds, give or take. In our 3rd game of the Zorro dice game, I taught Grandma how to play. Dad, as usual, rolled poorly, so the lack of mitigation, which I'll talk about that soon, killed him. When it came time for Grandma to draw a premium equipment card, she got the antidote. That, plus her common equipment, meant she pretty much instantly completed any heroic feat. We needed a 3-way duel at the end. We were still tied after the first round, so we went again. Mom was eliminated, and I used my bullwhip to turn taunts into swords, giving me the win over Grandma. The Zorro dice game has gorgeous thematic art and clean graphic design. I do find the words on the enemy banners a bit tough to read. I also wish the equipment cards had a bit more excitement to them. There's a decent-sized deck of heroic feats and equipment. I'd like more variety in the enemy decks, and that's coming in the expansion. I found it interesting the way the hero dice, feats, and enemies work off one another. Green feats don't require a dash, red feats don't require a charm, and so on. Defeat a second feat of that color, collect the matching colored hero die, and then battle a scoundrel. The green scoundrel will require a dash. Same goes for the villain. It feels like there's progression, or you're building an engine with the dice and equipment. It also keeps the game from ending too quickly. With that said, I'm not exactly pulled into the theme. I don't feel like I'm adventuring and saving people or progressing like in some other games. Equipment cards aren't equally powerful. The antidote is way too strong, and the medallion is a bit weak. No matter how much we shuffle the premium equipment, my dad seems to end up with the medallion. It's pretty funny, actually. Anyhow, its ability is you ignore all scoundrel and villain abilities. Yeah, well, the yellow scoundrel says you may not use common equipment. Does that medallion give you any help? Nope. The villain says you may not use premium equipment. The medallion cancels that, but then what? If you don't have commons or hero dice, you're going to lose. I'll talk about this more in a moment. This is a Yahtzee-style game. Do you hate rolling dice? Skip this. There's next to no interaction aside from taking a feat before someone else gets it or a possible duel at the end. I mean, you can ask someone to join you in completing a feat, but that's not really interacting with them. They're just putting their pawn on the card as well, and you're using symbols from their equipment. There are plenty of dice games with mitigation. Dice Throne is a great example. King of Tokyo, the classic family game, has multiple possible actions, so it's unlikely that nothing happens on your turn. Here, you could go the entire game and not succeed in a single roll. Improbable? Yes, but not impossible. It happened to my dad. Until players get cards, you cannot mitigate those rolls. Even if you have someone join you, you could fail, but they could succeed on their roll. I've mentioned an expansion. From what I've been told, there will be a solo mode, which is neat. It also expands the game to 7 and 8 players. I personally would never play this with more than 4, so that doesn't matter to me. There will be additional equipment, feats, scoundrels, and villains. This sounds great. Also though, only the player that triggers the feat battles the enemy. This isn't an improvement. In the base game, we thought of it like us all surrounding the enemy and saying, I'm going to defeat you to show I'm the best candidate. Plus, it gave everyone a shot at equipment, meaning dice mitigation. I'd love to see feats not just require pairs of symbols. Have some that are 4 of the same or 3 in 1. Spice things up a bit. Finally, to help with mitigation, I wonder about offering a pass option where you visit the original Zorro. You draw common equipment for that turn to represent a lesson he taught you. Whether you successfully complete a feat or not, you discard that card. It's at least something if you're desperate. Plus, it's not like you benefited that much. The other players still were able to work on feats or whatever. Maybe the player that visited Zorro doesn't get to participate in battling any unlocked enemy that round either. I don't know. It's just an idea. The Zorro dice game isn't as exciting or fun as I hoped it would be. Sure, I want to be named the next Zorro, but winning doesn't fill me with the same excitement as Dice Throne, which is the best Battle Yahtzee game, in my opinion. In that game, you have hand and resource management, multiple ways to play, variable powers, and it's awesome. It's also only about 10 minutes longer than this game. Looking for something shorter? The brilliant King of Tokyo. Make sure you add the power-up expansion. It can be as short as 10 minutes. If this game gave us more actions and choices, variable powers, and or a way to mitigate bad luck, I'd recommend it. Right now, it's too long for what it is, and there are better games that do the same thing. I'm hopeful for the expansion though, because there is something here.